do it another way, but maybe you have it.
All right, now how's that? Fancy kids use the XLR. Can you guys give me a 5x5?
Can they hear my chair squeak?
5x6 for just a second. Oh, they still can't hear us.
Go to your device.
Ned.
Go to your device.
Okay.
No, what to be in the Beesons?
I don't know what you mean.
Check your audio device. Click on the thing, the settings, and set it to what make bees the USB.
Huh. In the gear icon. Okay. Well, audio. Let's see here.
USB device. I can't read it. I'm assuming. They both have to be set to that, I think, since you're...
How's that? Of course, I can't see the chat with this up.
We'll go it down and see.
How's that? So he says, Seventh Son says, I got it. So is that a 5x5?
I don't understand a 5x5. What does a 5x5 mean?
It means you can see me and you can hear me, and that's all. They know what's going on. 5x5. Thank you, Ben Bacon Bits. Perfect. Also, okay. So anyway, we were talking about McDonald's ashtrays. Like McDonald's used to have those little aluminum ashtrays. And we were talking about how crazy the 70s was, but he said that they went into the 90s. 5x5x5x5. Are we what? Too loud or something?
We're doing good.
So I only remember them from the 70s.
I just remember them until they didn't have them anymore.
Yeah.
Like 80s, 90s, whenever they quit. I can't believe I ever would have smoked in a McDonald's.
Well, I mean, if you're a smoker, you're going to smoke everywhere when you're allowed to smoke everywhere.
Yeah.
It's funny, like when I went to Romania, we transferred, we flew from New York to London, and they had these little pens where people would smoke inside the whole airport area.
Airtight.
Yeah. So it's like the smoke was wafting everywhere. So it's like, why do you bother to even have people in their little pens when there's smoke everywhere? Because they had them like, here's a little smoking pen, here's another little smoking pen. They were kind of scattered throughout the airport.
Needless to say, a jet probably puts some harmful chemicals in the air for us to breathe. Probably real good for the ozone and everything. I don't know.
So is the chat still going? It hadn't moved since Ben Bacon Bit said nice.
That's all she wrote.
The smoke knows it's not supposed to go in the other zones. Indeed.
I remember a local coffee shop was always busy, and the non-smoking people would be so pushed against the smoking, they would be complaining about the smoke. So the business died about a month after the smoking rule went into effect because people wanted to smoke and have coffee and have a drink. They didn't want to do the other. So they had one good showing the day after, and then it was gone.
Seventh Son says California took away your right to smoke years before the rest of the country. And I was there when it happened. I lived in California when that happened. I want to say it was around 94, 95, because I got there in 94.
Well, I haven't had a smoke coming up on 19 years in December.
30 years here.
30 years. Yeah, but smoking was one of my good friends.
Mine too. Are you kidding?
It was my second best friend.
Who was your first?
I don't know, but smoking was up there. I cried. It sucked. Quitting smoking sucked.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Zelda. Oh, man. Yeah, so
that's it. You got your room rearranged.
So yeah, I got the room rearranged here.
And the Olympics are over.
And the Olympics are over, and Steve is so happy.
No, I watched plenty. But, volleyball gets tedious when you watch them play 5 matches, and then the next group is... those people, whoever medaled, earned it after match after match after match. It's a lot.
Yeah. Ned is short for Awakened by the Looking Glass's Reflection. She's from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to complain about my mama's cigarette smoke. She used to always tell me smoke follows beauty. Yeah.
We used to scream for the back seat.
Hey, Plant Freak.
For parents to put out the cancer sticks. We hate those cancer sticks.
Indeed.
Indeed, man. Smoking.
So the camera is a lot clearer from this side too. It was all blurry the other day.
Yeah, you like it now?
Yeah, it's good. And I'm glad to have this is the way I set up the room originally when we moved in. And
I can't see. I had to fix this chair.
Yeah.
I forget, what did I have to do? I had to replace the screws, right? They were backwards.
Yeah, something like that.
It broke and someone fixed it, but they put the studs forward so when you turned, you would hit the fix and that would be it. You could turn a little bit, but now it'll turn all the way.
So that caused the lights to go out, whatever you did there.
Yeah.
Oh, did you keep the thing?
Yeah. What do you think? You can't do nothing with me, Carol.
Well, sometimes that happens that way.
Carol.
Yeah.
What you did was turned it back off.
Oh.
You let me turn them on. I'm clumsy, not stupid.
I still laugh that Steve is a farmer and yet he knows about astrophysics. Yep. Well, we didn't start out farmers when we got married. Here in Massachusetts, it became illegal to smoke. Hi, Ann from Massachusetts. I assume MA is Massachusetts. It became illegal to smoke in public restaurants, etc. on July 5th, 2004. I still smoked back then and remember feeling hot under the collar because of the law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
still on though, Carol. Okay, we're still on.
The biggest thing was businesses who had
not typing all the names, but hi, you all.
Fundamentally been smokers' paradise since they had opened.
Well, Stasia, I hope you're safe in that storm. Yes. Some ones for Stasia. They've really been through it up there with the storms. How long was your electricity out, Plant Freak? Hey, Crystal. So are you getting your guitar out so you can play it for the folks?
No, I'm loosening up the strings so that I can take the top nut off and glue it back into the right position.
I will do my best. Last one, power was out for 24 hours, and let's see, funnel clouds. Ooh, and now water is severely affected in the surrounding area. Oh yeah, so as in the water's contaminated. Oh, that stinks. until she beat the polar bears that were pulling the plug. That's right. Farming is hard work, but also much scientific knowledge as well, in my opinion. Right on.
Man, I'll never be a good farmer.
So why don't you do that over here?
I can't.
Oh, how come?
Make space too much bee needings.
Oh, there's room. Why don't you do that over here?
I can't.
Okay. Well, anyway, do you have to boil water? Do you have a boil water order, Stasia? Yes, and water is dark brown. I'm lucky where I am. Water is clear. Boil water advisory, though, and the river is crazy high.
We always found out after they lifted the boil order that we were under one. Remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
In Springdale, they tell us the boil order water had been lifted.
So anyway,
but luckily we had a filter.
Yeah. Did that filter out enough of the contaminants, you think?
I don't know. Do you?
No.
I mean, we drank it.
I know a good water filtration system using terracotta pots, by the way. Okay.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, I like those. Top nut, cute term of endearment for you, Carol. Top nut, cute term of endearment for you, Carol. Top nut? Okay.
And at least the top 10.
They banned Berkeys. Who banned Berkeys?
Why did they ban Berkeys?
I know a lot of people that have Berkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why did they ban Berkeys? They send cars out with loudspeaker. It's always just French. So if it was a bomb, I'd be effed. Yeah, you would. I swear I have a back thumb.
Why did
black
they
thumb.
Ban a Berkey?
But I go to the farmer's market and then can my own tomatoes and corn for the winter. I can't grow, but I can put stuff away for later.
We have green thumbs, but the bugs don't care.
Thank you, Cosmic. Cosmic says I'm looking happy. Well, I'm on some good meds again, and I've been on them for 4 weeks now.
She's almost out of papers. No, I'm kidding. We have plenty of papers.
No, we don't have any papers because we don't do that stuff.
We don't smoke anything, actually. No smoke, no gummies, no THC, no.
It's okay, plant freak.
What's the other THC shit that's in marijuana? CBD?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've taken so much CBD, and maybe I noticed it, maybe I didn't.
All I noticed is that it tasted bad. Ugh.
Yeah, the tincture tasted like bong water. Woo! But
disco.
I kind of noticed it, but I think turmeric is better.
Oh, Seventh Son says, Steve, a honeydew list is oil the chair.
I should. It's squeak. It's springs though. I'm not sure. I mean, it's bound to be better than nothing.
So we were talking about BONG water because CBD. We said that's what CBD tastes like. They tell you to boil your water for a hot minute.
Yeah. They want you to boil it for
10 minutes, I thought.
I thought it was 5.
I thought it was 10.
Well.
And hello, Warren. Good to see you.
At least we're not on one now.
I know. That's a blessing. And I'm sorry that you are under a boil order, Stasia.
That does suck. We could give her some of those big containers so she could catch water.
Aw. Ned agrees with Cosmic. There is a certain good vibes feeling coming from these two. 20 minutes is what they state here to boil water.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Man, it's got some good stuff in it.
I actually tried watching Saturday Night Fever. The dialogue was horrid.
It is pretty bad.
A classic? It is pretty bad.
Because it was 1979 and it had Vinnie Barbarino in it.
And the Bee Gees music. And that's about all it had really going for it. Because I watched it within the last 5 years too. Like, oh, we liked this?
Pre-Scientology.
No, that's around the time that he joined.
Yeah,
he was in
promoting it at that time.
Maybe not. My husband has been fighting the Monsanto. Oh,
yeah,
4+ years now. But we can have Berkeys. But we can't have Berkeys.
I don't understand the Berkey ban.
Clue me in on the ban of Berkeys. How do you ban a water filtration system? And who
They're
bans
a military
them?
grade.
You can't. I mean, how are you going to police that? You're going to go into everybody's home and say, hand over the Berkeys? Okay. Post on the Facebook page. Good, Stacia. Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome for the earworm.
Okay, here there's a lawsuit. It says.
It was one for me when I lived in Atlanta. Mild enough water wasn't visibly different. Usually water main break with uncertain implications. Night fever. Yeah, Cosmic. I was listening to that the other day. It came on the radio. As Ben well knows. I recorded a video of me jamming to it just for him because we know how much the Bee Gees mean to him. They said there were pesticide issues due to the metal in the Berkeys. That makes no sense. What does pesticide have to do with metal? Is pizza toast or is toast pizza?
I'll have to Google it.
California for sure, but to say it's going to be everywhere soon, they say it's going to be everywhere soon since it was the EPA doing it.
Berkey?
Pizza is pizza. That's right. Dang Skippy, Cosmic.
It really depends how hungry you are because you can make a sandwich out of ramen noodles if you have to.
Why can Roundup still be allowed and Berkey's banned?
I don't get the Berkey ban. Does it have to do with maybe some counterfeit filters?
Said it had to do with pesticides, which makes no sense.
I don't know because most people take water from a water supply that's supposed to be potable, whatever that word is.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
And then filter it. They're not filtering. I mean, supposedly you can take water and pour through a Berkey and drink it, but most people put water from their sink through the Berkey, then drink it.
Yeah. It's
already taking fairly clean water and filtering it further. I don't understand the ban on Berkey.
Yeah. And like I said, how are they going to enforce it? They're going to show up to people's homes and say, hand over the Berkey?
Yeah, somebody who bought 50 years worth of filters. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Taco is a sandwich. Agreed.
Could be.
So is a hot dog, according to Cosmic.
Hot dog is a sandwich.
Unless the bun touches on both sides, then it's cannoli. Jailhouse burritos, ramen noodles, hot Cheetos, roll them in the bag. Okay.
Yeah.
So apparently Ben has some fighting words for Cosmic about the cannoli,
Cannoli.
because hot dogs are sandwiches. I like saying sandwiches.
What does that make a cronut?
What's a cronut?
It's a croissant that's been glazed in donut glaze, and it's good.
Ooh, it sounds good.
Yeah, cronuts are pretty good. I don't really know how they're made, but I would eat one if you make some.
My water out of the tap is not clear,
Ooh.
says Anne from Massachusetts. I filter my water to drink if I'm not boiling it. Okay.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I can't believe the Berkey lawsuit. That's kind of weird.
That is very weird.
You know, because it's also a more survivable system. Like if running water is over, you can still use your Berkey to put water through. Whereas
that might be why it's banned.
Maybe so, because our underfiltered, we don't have any running water. We have to presto changeo, get a pump and a well to get. We have to use that little funnel filter that we have. I guess we could order some of those filter straws.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. There is also talk about rainwater harvesting being restricted. I've heard that one.
I know that
it's Frankenstein.
It's illegal in Oregon. You can't.
Cronuts.
You can divert water like gutters to save your property, but you cannot retain the water. You have to let the water go back to the aquifer.
Okay.
You might, I don't think you can even irrigate, or you could if you have it running through and then just going, but it's got to go right away. You can't store it or save it. At least that's what I thought the law was in Oregon. You can't stop any of the water.
The water department says it's safe, but really, yeah, it's always hard not to question.
Not when it's crunchy.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Ben Bacon Bit says that Basho once wrote, "A flute with no holes is not a flute, and a donut with no hole is a Danish."
Well, what does that make a cinnamon roll?
A cinnamon roll?
Oh, well. We have some of those, and if you made those, I would
Oh,
eat
yeah,
them.
we got some, didn't we?
We did.
We sure did.
We made biscuit donuts yesterday.
Yes, and they are magnificent.
They're not
bad.
You
deep fry it. You take the biscuit and you make a little hole in it, and you deep fry it, and then you roll it around in cinnamon sugar, and oh my.
They didn't last long.
Nope, they did not. I take Baby Ruths and divide them into 10 pieces, put in fridge biscuits, close up like a pie, deep fry, then dunk in powdered sugar. Baby Ruth turnovers.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
A flute with no holes would just be a pipe, wouldn't it?
Pipe, yeah.
Oh, bugger, I forgot about my custard donut in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Better go tend to that.
Better rescue that before it gets a bite out of it.
Well, we were just testing the new arrangement with lighting and this webcam that I have hooked up so that I can capture both of us. It's been fun, you guys. Custard filled are my faves. I like custard filled too.
Bavarian cream. You like that? It's not really custard. It's kind of just a pudding.
Yeah.
It's a fancy name for pudding.
The Bavarian cream that I've had is more like icing. Like kind fluffy icing.
Kind of. It's kind of a puddingy icing.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like the shelf life is longer than dried beans. I mean, it's in a container that I've seen would last forever. Bavarian cream. It kind of scared me.
I have a audio interface, Ben Bacon Bits. I'd pull it out to show you, but there's all these different cords attached to it, and I'm afraid I'd unhook something.
It has it's 2 XLR inputs.
It's XLR on both ends, and I had to use an audio interface. The audio interface is what you hook up the USB from. What
she doesn't know is the input will also take a 1/4-inch jack balanced or imbalanced.
I don't know what that means.
It's like a tip ring sleeve, like a guitar plug.
Okay.
You could plug an instrument. You could plug a guitar into one, or anything that uses a 1/4-inch plug.
I see.
Into the.
Well, hello, Anik. It's excellent to see you.
You're getting the whole party, Carol.
It's true. And all we were doing was just testing lighting.
And we didn't say anything about Star Trek again.
We sure didn't.
I think we exhausted ourselves when
I think so too.
We went as far as we could go on Star Trek.
Yeah, you really can't beat XLR for sound. I had a USB mic, and it just was.
Well,
you may as well just use your webcam mic.
It's a configuration conundrum because now you have one more device, and everything USB becomes another sound device, another audio device in the operating system. Where as a mixer, I don't know why my light is on, has the one device and everything you can feed into the mixer.
Right.
It was the one bummer about USB being ancient. In the 90s, when I would work on computers, before USB came out, then people would have headphones and other things, and they would have several more sound devices. No wonder they couldn't configure any of their software, because you didn't just choose audio enabled, then you had to choose which piece of hardware worked that piece of audio.
Right.
For the average person, they really just want to click go and it work.
Right.
And so it muddied the water instead of making things clearer. Now, to make a water analogy, when we were in business, some of our workers, we would say, this one muddies the water and this worker doesn't muddy the water. And the one that doesn't muddy the water makes more money than the one that muddies the water. I don't know if you guys know what that term means.
So, Seventh Son introduced Star Trek. Never seen Steve and Data at the same time.
That's true. Well, we'll have to have Data's brother on. We'll have to have Lore. Yeah, we'll have to have Lore on.
Back in the 90s, people 3D printed the save icon.
You know, why didn't they go back in time and take Data's extra head and give it to Lore when they jumped back from San Francisco? Then they just could have had 2 Datas.
You have no energy. Whoa, C drive is full. Whoa, Cosmic.
Oh, that means you need a external drive.
External hard drive.
So you can start dumping some folders.
Seriously considering switching over to Linux with my new PC. We highly recommend Linux.
I recommend Ubuntu or Mint. You'll have enough of a peer group around you, and if you're just doing things with the basic software and freeware, I mean, they have a pretty good software library. You can look up Office and other packages that are available in the Linux flavors, and pretty darn useful. I haven't regretted switching to it. I still have Windows, but
yeah,
I'm scratching, and I apologize, but we have chiggers, and they're pretty excellent. But I really do like Linux. I think it's pretty effective.
I started on DOS. Sometimes I miss it. Mostly I don't. I learned on computers that ran with floppy disks. Computers have come a long way. Yes, they have, Ann from Massachusetts.
Oh, man, when you booted to floppy and then you had to switch drives or take your boot disk out to put in your storage disk, then it would need to read the COM file. You'd have to put your boot disk back in, and it would get the data it needed, and it would tell you to change disks again, and you can continue saving your work.
Right.
It was there was a lot to keep track of in your head.
A lot.
But the original DOS users were really pretty powerful users in Windows. There were things about 3.1 that were much better than 95. If you were into actual work and productivity, the boring parts of computers that really sucked.
Warren Scholl says maybe it's called DOS because that's how many bytes per second it can process.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe so.
But really, some things were faster. Games originally were faster in DOS because the overhead of the operating system wasn't there. The operating system, they were more like game consoles because the only thing the computer was doing was from a DOS prompt, immediately loading the game. No overhead, no anything. Game was the operating system. And I remember playing pretty good games on a 130 megahertz PC, millions of years ago.
Anne from Massachusetts says, I beta tested the first Apples back in the day. And
Oh,
Wayne
wow.
computers. I am that old.
Which Apples? Like the Apple II? I guess she's talking about before Apple II.
Back then it was called Macintosh, wasn't it?
No, what?
It was still called. It was already started out Apple. Started out Apple.
She's about to give you an education on that. Apple, the original Apple was 8-bit. The Apple II was an improvement on that.
Okay.
And the Macintosh was like an improvement on something called the Lisa when they went to the 68,000 series.
Now Windblows has huge overhead. Windblows.
Total waste of overhead, of power of the machine.
We had an OEM MS Windows still in plastic about 5 years ago. Tons of old games like Zork still.
Oh, yeah.
Not new in box. So much old tech. I wish we could have done something more with it.
Yeah. I gave away tons.
And he remembers them all.
I wanted to keep a 486, but I couldn't dig one up before I'd gotten rid of them. I do have a Pentium 200 that I've managed to keep, and I think I have a 200 laptop somewhere that needs some TLC.
I was playing on an Apple, Warren, in 94.
What kind of Apple? Must have been.
It was
Macintosh.
it just had the boxy little.
That's a Macintosh.
Yeah, Macintosh. Well, you said that it wasn't called Macintosh originally. After I said it was.
Because there's more knowings what to be knowed. The original Apples used a CRT. You had to get the Apple monitor. It wasn't a Macintosh. It was pre-Macintosh. And had a lot of great educational software.
Thank you, Barb Pacelam.
What'd she say?
She loves the new digs.
Oh.
It's the same old digs. It's just the room is arranged like I originally had it. I arranged it this way for the lighting coming from the windows.
Has anybody chimed in that the original Apple was before Macintosh? Macintosh was in the 80s, not in the 70s. And the original Apple was in the 70s.
Okay.
And later. It lasted a long time.
Take your word for it. When were the biggest Apple waves? Pre-2000. Don't know.
The biggest Apple waves? I don't know. Everybody liked the first iMacs until they started trying to upgrade them. And Windows went through a lot of evolution. And the PC went through a lot of evolution.
Right.
We recorded our first album on Power PCs. I'm pretty sure. The Listen Laboratory used G5s. He ran his studio off G5 Macintosh computers.
Okay. Right on.
They were not new when he was using it, but that was 2008. He ran those until I don't know what he upgraded with from there. No idea.
It's getting stuffy back here.
He was using some kind of Power PC and then G5s. And that's about all I can remember.
Original Apple PC sold for $666.66. Went over well.
That was
in
cheap.
The Tinfoil Hat Society.
I mean, that was expensive, but do you know what the original IBM PC was? Several $1,000s, I believe.
I believe it.
And it was had nowhere near the software library that the Apple had.
Anik remembers the adventure game Hack with the map made out of alphanumeric characters.
Yeah, ASCII.
And loved it.
They use ASCII graphics. my brother used to play this game called Kingdom of Cross, and it was all ASCII graphics. And I remember taking him a math coprocessor for his 286 Tandy, and his operating system was DeskMate, which is kind of a fluffed up DOS with a shell, DOS shell, kind of a Windowsy, DOSy shell. And he had to slow the graphics back down because the math coprocessor and for the PC was 80 bits, and it helped made your graphics a lot better in games. Anything that required floating point.
Right.
If that makes any sense to anyone. You had to have a separate floating point unit on PCs. It's why some of the PC games were much better than they were on Macs, because of the fact of the floating point in the processors and the dedicated graphics cards. I had a friend that used a
G5 to record me and him playing, says Ben. And
Yeah.
Crystal M's first computer, their first computer was a Commodore 2000. I remember those. Those were the good old days, though.
Like an Amiga 2000, Amiga 5000, Amiga?
Commodore 2000.
Then that would have been Commodore Amiga. And Amiga was good. They used the same processor as the Macintosh, but they had I don't know how to describe it, but I know they had a better integer rating. They had better... They didn't have more software, but I mean, they had a very incredibly good following.
Yeah.
Babylon 5 was rendered on a bank of Amigas.
Really?
Commodore Amigas.
As in the show Babylon 5?
They were using the first iteration of something called Video Toaster. And they rendered some of the first work for Babylon 5. And I'm not sure what else, but I remember people talking about Video Toaster and comparing that with the Amigas, and Babylon 5 was going back then.
So Anne from Massachusetts says she was in the 7th or 8th grade, so that would be back in 80 or 81, maybe 82.
Yeah, so it would have been Apple II. Apple IIe, if you had an Apple IIe with the graphics and the floppy and the disk drive, you were really...
Ben Bacon Bits remembers when a Mathco was a big deal because you needed it to run an AutoCAD.
Yeah, you did.
Then Crystal went to Tandy 1000. I remember those too.
That's when my brother, they had a Tandy 1000. It was something and had it was better than the trash 80s. I learned on a TRS 80 in high school. And it had 64 kilobytes of memory. And it had an 8088 processor, which is a kind of a crippled 8086. It's a 16-bit processor internal, using an 8-bit external data bus for 8-bit peripherals.
Mm-hmm.
And with 64 kilobytes, it was 1/10 the amount of memory that the IBM PC came with 640. It's when Bill Gates said nobody would need 640 kilobytes of RAM.
That is hilarious.
That is hilarious.
It is. Games that so much at our fingertips to create now. Toast. Holy crap, I remember. I love the knowledge that comes out of Steve. Yeah, it is good. When I moved out on my own in 1996, I got the Tandy 1000 to take with me. By then, Mom had a Tandy 2000.
Tandy 2000.
That was Crystal. Seventh Son Tandy computer was my first. Won a raffle from Radio Shack. That is cool.
Did it run DeskMate? That was the Tandy software they had.
And from Massachusetts, all I really remember was Wayne computers were awful. I wasn't surprised when they went out of business.
Wang, I've never seen a Wang. I remember trying to think of this computer company called Diamond something. It'll come back to me in a minute.
Have you heard of IndieWeb?
I've heard of IndieWeb. That doesn't mean...
Anyone else considered going IndieWeb? Seriously, been on my mind a lot. It's like time traveling back to MySpace land. Oh,
sounds interesting.
I remember MySpace.
Does anyone remember?
I liked it.
A piece of chat software that was pre-ICQ, kind of a contemporary though, called Powwow. Powwow had a great game going pre-phones and pre-texting where, like this environment, you could have several people on at once and you would be talking to each other, typing. Mm. But if somebody wanted to learn something, you could click cruise, and if they accepted the cruise, their computer would go through every web page as you showed them how to go to Dell, select their machine type, select the drivers, select download, or compact or H. And back then, that's what people were trying to do. They just got a PC, then they wanted to upgrade the operating system, or they needed a video driver. They had a crash, had to reload. They didn't have any sound. Then you would talk them through going to, and you could just show them, and it would come up right on their screen. There's nothing like that now. I mean, there is, because you could just click links and have them click the link, but they can actually watch link by link in a cruise situation, which cruise was really cool.
Right on.
You could also drop files to their screen, and all they had to do is accept it. So it was better than Napster or file sharing, because if you wanted to give somebody a picture or a music file, you just dropped it to their screen and they selected it. And this was called Powwow. It was by McAfee, the guy who wrote McAfee Antivirus. In the last few years, he's kind of done some wacko stuff down in Belize or somewhere. He's kind of gone off the deep end. But yeah, Powwow was his creation. Tribal Voice and Powwow, they were kind of one thing. That's what they called it. Powwow's Tribal Voice.
Lord Kissfreak had a Commodore VIC-20 back in '84. A few years later, we got the Commodore 64.
Yes, my friend had a VIC-20 and a 64.
A paperweight.
Yeah. Well,
had a Commode VIC.
With the VIC-20, if you got the floppy drive, it had more memory than the computer. And there was software you could use that memory. Then he got a 64, and of course that was better.
Crystal M. When I moved to the community I live in now, I got my first computer that had internet access. Now I have an Acer laptop and upgrade every couple of years. I think that's what this is. Yeah, this is an Acer Chromebook. Independent web, not all about sales, data mining, much clearer.
Right.
Wang was based in Lowell, Massachusetts. The computer chip connections would burn out, and I actually had one that set itself on fire.
Aww.
Really scary for a tween. Yeah, I would think so, Ann.
That was. I remember Wang, but I never had one.
Apple Computer Game Wizardry. Does anyone else remember the text-based game Adventure? You're in a maze of twisty little passages, all different. That was unique. Well, folks, it's been fun, but it's time for us to start chores.
Yeah, we got to round up chickens and that ass out there. I love to say, look at that ass, because we have a donkey. Billy Bob, you don't have to do anything because he's a pig, and you just shake the food can and he's trying to dig through the door.
Oh.
He's a crybaby. He's kind of funny.
Yeah.
At least to his stomach.
Well, I'll leave this chat up while I get my boots on, and y'all can continue the conversation. This was an impromptu thing, and it was good to see all of y'all. And thank you so much for showing up. It's been fun. All right. See you guys. Peace, y'all. And live long and prosper.